This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. We are back at it again after the Browns drafted DeJuan Jones. They came back around here and got Isaiah McGuire. And I like this pick. This was somebody that a lot of people thought the Browns could get their hands on at 72. He ends up being the Browns pick at 126. I like him a lot at that spot. I didn't really love him at 126, but, you know, at 72, I'm a much bigger fan of him. We could look at some of his measurables here. Came out of Missouri, 6'4", almost about 270 pounds. Has small hands, but he plays edge, so it doesn't matter. 33 and 7/8 inch arms, which are pretty decent. Big, long arms here. Ran a 4.76. The 10-yard split isn't what you would want. Usually you want guys in that 1.5, 1.6 category, but he's in the low 1.7, so it's not terrible. Vertical jump 1.65, broad jump 10.2, so a lot of explosion out of there. In the 3-cone drill 7.39. You know, that you're looking for explosiveness, you're looking for quick hands, you're looking for strength here. A 74 athletic score. If you look at what Lance Zierlein, who's kind of infamous for how bad his comps are, he compared him to Preston Smith. I don't know which player I would compare Isaiah McGuire to, but I would say he's a better swing at edge than I thought Alex Wright was, and I think Alex Wright would be a pretty good swing at 3-tech if they move him inside. I like Isaiah McGuire. I think his strengths are, you know, explosiveness. He has a good motor, real long, good size, good bull rusher. I like his energy again, and decent enough feet. The weakness for him, though, is you see the speed, the power sometimes you don't. It's not really consistent. I don't think he's going to be the greatest run defender in the world, and I think he's going to have to put on just a little bit more weight in the NFL, even though I think he's fine the weight he's at if he's going to be playing edge. It also brings up another question when it comes to the Cleveland Browns and they're playing at edge, and we're noticing a theme here. The edges are getting smaller and the defensive tackles are getting bigger, right? Usually, well, in the Joe Woods system, our edges would be 270 and our tackles would be about 290. What's happening now is that our edges are getting around 260, sometimes even 250 if they're super lean, and our tackles are getting to like 320, which some may argue should be the way we go, but you draft Siaki Ika, that's a 320-pound nose guard. Traditionally, that's going to be playing some 3-tech, and he's going to be playing 3-tech because there's not a lot of space for a 0-tech in a wide 9. And then you look at some of the other bodies that they brought in. These are going to be dudes who are going to be playing above 300 pounds. So it looks like they're getting heavier on the inside and lighter on the outside. And that's kind of what that wide 9 does, because in that wide 9, the body type that you're looking for, a technical 4-3 edge, is a little bit closer to what you would look for in a 3-4 linebacker, because you want guys who are a little bit more athletic there. Like Alex Wright is a great example of this, somebody who in a 4-3, he's a power end to a regular end, but in a wide 9-4-3, you might want to move him more inside and have him play a proto 3-tech, because you don't want him so wide that he's outside the tight end and he has to play in a bunch of space because the athleticism might not be there. I think that's why they went with Ogbonnia Okonkwo in the offseason. That's another guy who's a little bit more athletic, a little bit more twitchy, but a little smaller. They're going to have him out wider. That's what along the lines of that. Isaiah McGuire is another guy that they brought in. And then they have guys like Isaiah Thomas already on the roster. So I just think it's interesting, the makeup of this roster as they kind of put together what they want in that defensive line room, that we're getting bigger inside, much, much bigger inside, but much smaller on the outside. If we look at the Browns' edge rush room right now, they have Isaiah McGuire, Ogbonnia Okonkwo, Sam Kamara, Isaiah Thomas, Alex Wright. Obviously, Myles Garrett's going to play a ton of snaps. In this edge room, I would say there's probably room for 3 more guys. One starter, that's probably going to be Ogbonnia Okonkwo. So Myles Garrett and Ogbonnia, they're going to start. And then you have some rotational spots. I think that he's going to be in a role for one of those rotational spots, probably behind Myles Garrett. So I would say Isaiah McGuire, probably I would slot him in to be behind Myles Garrett. Isaiah Thomas and Alex Wright are probably going to fight it out for that other edge spot. I'm not super in love with the rotation at edge right now. I'm not. We're relying a lot on Ogbonnia to be a stud, to be a true starter. Status wise, it is a downgrade from Jadeveon Clowney. Hopefully play wise it won't, but you go from Jadeveon Clowney, an established starting edge rusher in the NFL and Pro Bowl edge rusher, to an up and coming guy. It's a little concerning. I would feel much better, and I think Browns fans would feel much better if they added a name or two we know. And look, familiarity doesn't mean that player is going to be good. But familiarity does do a lot for how teams have game plans against you. And we're familiar with some of these players because they're good, right? Like Melvin Ingram has still been decent. What's his name? He used to play for Baltimore. Let me know in the chat the guy I'm blanking on. But there are a number of edge rushers that are still available in free agency that I think the Browns should probably look at if this is going to be their haul after the draft. Because I would find what they have right now at edge to be a bit concerning. Right now, funny enough, like Jadeveon Clowney is still available as a free agent. I think who else is there? Marcus Peters still available as a free agent. There are a lot of interesting names that are available as free agents that we know. But if we go to edge defender here, maybe a Unique Ngakoue would be somebody that could be helpful. Leonard Floyd is somebody that I would see would fit the new body type that they're going after. Melvin Ingram. Justin Houston is a guy who's been productive. He's 34, but he's been productive. Frank Clark is another guy that would be interesting there. I think they have to dip their hand in that bucket of guys who have not been signed yet, that have had production in the past, because when I look at that edge rush room, I see Myles Garrett and I see a couple of guys that I think could develop into something, but I don't really see another starter next to Myles. Like Ogbonnia, hey, it would be great if he's a starter, but right now I think he's more or less that Takk McKinley role that we've been trying to fill for a couple of years, not necessarily the other starter next to Myles Garrett. Now I could be proven wrong there. He could play well there. I'd love to be wrong on that. But it just doesn't feel like that's the other starting position there, right? Like a Justin Houston, a Frank Clark to add to that rotation. And then all of a sudden we're just talking about Isaiah McGuire fighting it out with Isaiah Thomas or somebody like that for that backup role behind Myles. All of a sudden we're good, right? You add one of these names and I feel so much better about the edge room. But right now I think they need one more name, right? Again, Frank Clark's available. Maybe they want to go even more experimental and get like a Calvin Noy or somebody like that. Justin Houston, Melvin Ingram, Leonard Floyd, Unique Ngakoue. They're not going to go back to Jadeveon Clowney for obvious reasons, but all of these dudes are available. And I would assume that they're going to look into that, because this edge rush room does not scream to me that they're done there. So that's an interesting pick there. I like Isaiah McGuire a lot. There's a question of what works best opposite of Myles Garrett, because we've tried a number of different things. Olivier Vernon was a true 4-3 edge the same way that Emmanuel Ogbah was. And those situations had mixed success. I think the most success that they've had opposite of Myles Garrett was with Jadeveon Clowney, who was a little bit slighter, a little bit more athletic. And I think they're going all the way in the other direction where we're like, hey, let's put some lighter, more athletic guys opposite of Myles Garrett. And and that's how we're gonna roll with the future here. So of those guys that I named, I think Leonard Floyd, Melvin Ingram, and Justin Houston, Frank Clark, probably along the lines of what they would be looking at. Frank Clark is the one guy who's been playing better. Justin Houston is old, but he's been playing well the last couple of years. Melvin Ingram is old, but he's been playing well the last couple of years. And Leonard Floyd, he's kind of on a dip right now, but he kind of fits that profile that you would want edge to fit. Now, a lot of this has to do with money. What do they have the money to do? Do they have the money to get this guy here or there? I think they have enough money to get one of those guys left. But yeah, it was interesting to see in this draft. They didn't get an edge. And as far as I know, now pick 229 hasn't happened. They didn't get a tight end. And I think those are two spots to where they're going to want to pick somebody up, or maybe they feel like an undrafted free agent can fill that role. It'll be interesting to see who they get in undrafted UDFA as well. But that's my thoughts on that pick. Let me know what you guys think of the Isaiah McGuire pick. It was a pretty popular pick on the live stream. I believe he got a favorable ranking. Hopefully I'll remember to put that up here in the video. But that's Isaiah McGuire. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night.